how do you do that? How do you get up in the morning and plan for a recording session where it's just you and the camera and let your passion come through in the way that you do?
So I'm going to tell you, the first time I got on a camera was in the backyard, and I had my iPhone, and I was sitting out in the backyard in our pool, and I wouldn't let anyone hear me. And I sat there with my dogs, and I froze. I couldn't even say, I said, like, welcome to, I called it Mind and Money Wellness. That now it's called Live Wealthy, but I was like, welcome to my, and I couldn't even like talk. I couldn't, an introvert or an extrovert could not, I was scared out of my bones, and anxiety runs in my blood. Like I was like, there was nobody even there. My dogs, they're like, Mom, you're okay. Like, but John, even to an extrovert, it was so hard.
Hi there, and welcome to the Augmented Advisor Podcast, brought to you by Blue Leaf. I'm John Prendergast, your host. You just heard from Dawn Dahlby, today's guest. She's the founder and CEO of Releve Financial Group, as well as an author and speaker. Dawn has grown her wealth management business and brand by extending her client experience out into the world as part of her mission to help more people. In doing so, she has built a fast-growing firm and a dedicated following. Today, we talk about how she got started in video and media for her firm and discuss what it takes for you to do the same. She also shares her journey of becoming an advisor, starting her own firm, and all the critical lessons learned along the way. But maybe best of all, Dawn talks about why. It's her why that drives everything, and that can help you too. This episode is packed full of heart and fantastic lessons for any entrepreneur wanting to grow their business and brand. So let's get into it with Dawn. Dawn Dahlby, welcome to the Augmented Advisor.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
I got to tell you, I'm pretty psyched for this conversation. And just full disclosure to all the advisors out there watching, Dawn and her company have been a customer of my company, Blue Leaf, for a few years now. And yet, up until very recently, we've never spoken.
Yeah.
And then I started doing some research on social media about our customers. And I got to tell you, Dawn, I'm a huge fan now. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but it's super fun.
And we're going to talk about all that work. It's amazing. I mean, we're talking video, audio, written content. You're an author, you speaker, just you're doing it all. I think any advisor who wants a real presence in the world is going to look at you as a real inspiration.
Yes. Well, thank you. It is a lot. And it's full disclosure too. Being an advisor for the last 2 decades is one hard job. And then when you come out and try to scale a business and have this passion to help more individuals that maybe don't qualify for your financial advice services on a one-on-one basis. And so you want to create this platform for them to really, to serve the underserved public and helping them with financial planning and investment management and tax planning, engaging in this type of business, versus just being a financial advisor and becoming this entrepreneur is a real journey. And I'm here to share all of the good, the bad. So because I do believe there's so many more people that need to do what I'm doing, but I can help you fast track your way there because I have made so many mistakes and have gone left to go right and have taken 14 steps back to go 1 forward. But, when things are done from the heart and you have a passion about money and you have a passion about helping other people, you figure out a way to do it. So I'm here to help all advisors grow their business and to be comfortable enough to speak to the cameras and be on podcasts and do all the right things. Because at the end of the day, it's not about us. It's about reaching more people with the right type of advice.
I think that is exactly the journey I wanted to talk about. So let's get to the beginning. How did you get started as an advisor? What drew you to it?
Money. Let's just be real. I grew up in a household where, my dad did not want to spend any money, and my mom loved to spend money, but didn't have it and had all this anxiety around money. And I always felt this limitation, and I was stuck. And I remember looking at other people's lifestyles, and I was like, well, why can they have that stuff and we can't? And I just, I had all these mixed messages about money in my childhood. And so I thought, gosh, how do I figure, how do I grow money, and how do I have this different life and not feel so limited and stuck, and that we can't have this and we can't do that, and life's too expensive, and, and always that fear around money. And so I thought, how do I figure out money? Well, I learned about money. And so that's what I did. I came into this business late. I didn't come in until I was 30 years old. And I was originally working in hospitality, in sales, and I worked on some cruise ships. I actually was a singer dancer. Even my husband and I, we were on cruise ships, like doing the production shows on the cruise lines. And so all I knew was hospitality, and I got into hospitality after the cruise ships. And then I was like, okay, I was in sales and hospitality making like $24,000. And I was like, this isn't going to cut it. And so I still felt, even in my 20s, late 20s, I still felt this limitation with money. So I needed to figure out, how do you learn more and how do you get more money? Well, you go into financial planning and financial management. So that's really how it started. I started because I wanted to learn and have more money myself. And I didn't start until I was 30.
Wow. And when you look at your bio, you've now also done a lot of education for yourself and all kinds of certifications. And it looks like you have an undergrad in finance, and then you've got your CFP and your behavioral. Tell me about that behavioral certification. Yeah. You're one of the first with that, right?
Yeah. The behavioral certification to me is just as important, if not even more important than that CFP. But I do believe real advisors that really want to help people and really want to help their clients, and where it's not about the advisor, it's about the client getting the right type of advice. You need the combination of the technical advice that you're going to give clients and the behavioral advice. And so having that dual certification, the behavioral financial advisor certification, is really about teaching people how to react and how to have a healthier relationship with money. Because what I found, John, is that at any wealth level, I'm talking about people that just have debt or people that have multi-billion dollars of assets, is that they still have this fearful relationship with money that stems typically from our childhood. And so we have to understand our behaviors around money and our actions around money, and how do we react to the money that we have or don't have in our lives. And once we figure out that behavior and we figure out the science behind financial planning and investment management, and when you merge those two together, is when you're really giving clients the right type of advice. So you need both of those type of certifications to really be what I feel is the gold star in our industry to help clients.
And that seems so much harder to do than the basic technical math aspects of investing and wealth management planning. I mean, you could take a lifetime to learn how to do that well.
Absolutely. And it does take a lifetime, and the behavioral stuff never goes away. And it's something that we have to constantly work on. Even myself as a wealth expert, I still need to work on my own behaviors and my thoughts and my emotions around money. And it does take time to figure that out. But it's really the most important aspect. Like, there's an art and science to everything in life. There's an art and science to marketing. There's an art and science to financial planning, to everything. And if we're going to be really good in our profession, we have to use both sides of our brain. We need to use the technical side of our brain, the science part of our brain. We need to use the art and the creative side of our brain. And that's hard for some of us to do that. I'm lucky enough where I think my brain is cut in the middle. Like, when I first started as a financial advisor, I was so worried that I wasn't going to be good because I didn't think I had the right technical skills. And it made me really insecure about who I was as a financial advisor. Then, after sitting in thousands and thousands of client meetings and getting advice and getting certified and going through all the education, you realize, okay, this is just a science. We can figure this out. And once you figure that out, you got to really understand the art part of our business. And I think for advisors, the reason why they're not out doing what I'm doing, because we get caught in the technical side of our brain and we get caught in our own insecurities. And we don't want to get put ourselves out there because we're afraid of what we're going to look like, what we're going to sound like. And we're not using both sides of our brain, which is okay. But then if you're an advisor that maybe isn't using both sides of your brain, and let's say you're super technical, then I believe that you need to hire the creative advisor out there, or the creative marketing person that can really help you get your message out there. Because sometimes we just have to fall in our lane. Sometimes we're not using both, we're just not, our skills and our strengths aren't using both sides of our brain, which is not a right or wrong thing. It's just understanding who you are. Are you super technical? Are you super creative? Are you more of the art, the science, figuring out who you are and then hiring around that to help you maximize and grow and scale your business? Because more people need our advice. Advisors, this is for you, and I'm super passionate about this, is that for 23 years, I have sat one-on-one with clients and giving really good technical advice and then giving really good behavioral advice. But we can only help so many people with our time. And when you have a camera in front of you, you can start to help not just one-on-one and not just 200 people and not just 300 people, but you can start turning that into 3,000 people and then 30,000 people. And our job as advisors, because we all make a lot of money, it's our job to take that financial resource that we've been gifted and given through our own hard work. Okay, so maybe it's not a gift, but we've worked hard for our money, and I get that, but we get paid a lot of money. And we need to figure out how to turn that into not just more for us, but more to serve other people on this planet. Because if you look at all the stats, right, we are in the highest debt environment, credit card debt environment we've ever been in, $1 trillion of debt. And so many people don't have access to our financial advice. And so we need to get out of our own heads, our own technical heads, and get out into the marketplace, because our people need our advice. And that's why I feel so passionate about. And when I started switching my mindset on, this isn't about, Dawn, is your hair good? Is your nails good? Is your, look at, I'm sitting here with one nail. Granted, we all want to look good and we want to feel good. Okay. But this
Absolutely.
Isn't about this, right? But it's not about that. It's about giving the right type of advice to other people on this planet, because clearly this globe needs us, right? You just got to look at the stats.
No question. And I think that's such an interesting concept. It's media as a calling, right? It's so media for advisors almost as a calling, right? How do you live up to that calling and really broadcast that message? And we're going to spend a lot of time on that, most of the rest of the conversation. But before we do that, the other thing you talked about in there was creating a team. This idea that you complementary skill sets, and you created a team. So what led you to make the jump from solo advisor, which is, as an entrepreneur, but then to build a firm?
Yeah. I've gone through in the last 23 years working on my own, being on teams, going back to working on my own, to building my own team and not just be partnered with other advisors. And what I realize is that the time that we live in right now is to really get deep and narrow with the advice. And it's super, super important to be really good at what we do and the advice we give, because the market's so saturated too, with so many people being financial coaches or pretending like they're advisors, but they're really living in their parents' basement. But from a media perspective, there's so many people giving advice, but giving the wrong advice. And so I thought, how do I take my gifts and my skills and my strengths and just hone in on those more, and then hire what I don't like to do, or hire what it takes to build this business and to scale and help more people. Because at the end of the day, it's really about helping more people. And so how do I hire around my weaknesses is really what I figured out. I figured out what my strengths are. And then how do I hire around my weaknesses to continue to serve and help more people? So, John, literally, I branched out again at the beginning of 2017. And now we're in 2023. And since that time, I branched out with, there was myself as an advisor, there was a CPA, and the CPA was with me at that time. And then I had a service provider, someone who was servicing the clients. So there was 3 of us, January 1st, 2017. And now we have, so 7 years, right? Or we're 6, what is it? It's 2023, yeah?
It is 2023.
So right? It's 2023.
We're getting to the end of it. It's almost 2024.
Yes,
but
that's
not
what I was like, oh my gosh, it keeps going faster and faster. So not that many years, right? Not that many years. We're almost coming up on 7 years where now there's 12 of us. And 12 of us that work in the firm. And then there's about 12 additional that I've hired out as contractors to help us grow. I mean, that's significant amount of people that I've hired on the team in just a short, almost 7 years to get us to where we want to go. I mean, it's crazy.
And it's all built around this idea of how do I become more of me almost. I mean, it's a really unique way to approach entrepreneurship. It's a really unique way to approach building a firm. A lot of folks will start with some abstract concept, but in some ways you started with the idea of self-actualizing, which is phenomenal. And it's clearly succeeded for you.
Yeah. I mean, don't we all just want to be happy? And we can't just be happy on the weekends. We got to be happy at our work. And after you do stuff for so long, John, I've said in 10,000 client meetings, after a while, it gets a little boring for me. And I'm giving 80% of the time, I'm giving similar advice. The 20% of the time is really customized to the individual because everyone's on a different wealth building journey. But what I realized is that I wasn't being true to my client if I was starting to get bored. So I was like, okay, so how do I level up my skills to help more people and to hire more people that really truly wanted to be in those one-on-one client meetings, giving that advice because they were sharpening their skills and they felt more comfortable. But I believe all of us need to be happy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, not just Saturday and Sunday. And are we always happy on Mondays? No. And I'm still not always happy on Monday morning, right? Because it's the transition day. But we have to be able to we're happier when we're using our skills and our strengths and our God-given talents and abilities, at least 80% of the time during the work week. And then when we do that, we're better human beings, right? We're better and we become more of an expert in our gifts. And then when you do that and you hire people around the paper, the serving the client, what does the client at the end of the day, what does the client need and what do they want? Well, if you hire team members around their true needs and their true wants and everyone can live in their lane, in their zone of genius, then we're happy almost every single day of the week.
It's amazing though, because leaning into the things that you're good at and leaning into the things that you're happiest doing leads to this growth, right? This personal growth as well as the business growth. And I think it's fantastic philosophy, and it clearly has worked for your firm and for you personally, but it hasn't always been roses. I mean, you've had some challenging times. And so, our crack researchers came up with an Instagram post you wrote. I want to read it and get a sense of where you are at and in this time. So 2021, October 17th, when you're lucky enough to do what you love, you are able to share your unique strengths to help others. But I'll tell you what, I didn't always believe it was possible. I had so many people trying to hold me back or make me question myself. If I had listened to them, I wouldn't be where I am today. My wish for you is that you will surround yourself with people who lift you up, people who are in your corner to cheer you on, because you can go after every single thing that you want in this life, and truly, no one can stop you but you. I was blown away when I read that, but I also thought, wow, there's an entrepreneur who's been on a journey and has taken some hits along the way. So can you go back to that time and sort of think about what led you to that quote?
We were just reading it, and I mean, it brought tears to my eyes just thinking about it again, because I think so many times us human beings get stuck in our own way because of fear, or we get stuck because of some intimidation by other colleagues in our path. And for me, it was just about like branching out and doing what my gut tells us to do. And you know, when you manage people's money, they tell you not to have emotions. Like, don't manage around emotions and don't make decisions with your money around emotions. But what drives us as human beings are those emotions. And our gut is 95% of the time right. So it's that balancing act. But John, you're right. Like, when I branched away from a partnership I was in, that was actually the easiest part. And then my crazy mind starts working. It's like, okay, now I can run my own business and be my own registered investment advisor. It's not really that hard. They always make it to be like it's so hard to do your own compliance and to do really, it's really not. You just need the right support and the right team, but it's not hard to branch off on your own. But then when you branch off on your own, then my mind, because it's like it never stops, so I have all this energy. It's like, okay, now what's next? And that's when it gets hard. And when you follow your true passion and your purpose, it can get really hard. I can't tell you how many nights I went to bed over the last 5 years where I get nervous myself about the financial resources I was putting out to help me grow this platform. And everybody in marketing, everybody in media is willing to take all of your money and say, I can help you. I can break this next level for you. Just hire this social media team and just hire this PR firm and just hire this ad specialist. Like, I was the one that was doing this because I had it and I trusted that I was going to get the right type of advice, because I knew that as a financial advisor, that I had to be there for my clients too. And I couldn't just switch on my marketing brain, right? So then I was like, I got to hire out people to help me grow. Well, then what happened is I was flying money out left and right for people to help me get connected and get on media and, do my social media and all that kind of stuff. And it was failing and money going out and failing because I wasn't owning that marketing part myself. And what I had to do is realize that my biggest weakness is being impatient and that it takes time to do things right. And I realized at the end of the day, what's doing things right is serving the client first and foremost. And I needed to either serve the client and forget about the marketing, or I needed to hire on some kick-ass advisors that were going to help me serve the clients the best possible way we could. And then I could slowly get myself out of that one-on-one and working in the business and work more on the business and being the true CEO that I should be and leading the team and being the true sales and marketing and branding person that I needed to be. But that doesn't mean that as an advisor that happens overnight. You have to serve the client and then find someone to serve the client. And then you have to also own the CEO role. You need to own the sales and marketing and the branding role. And you can't do it at the same time. Because if you try to, what I've learned, and hear me out on this, because this is the most important thing, do not hire out a marketing team that you're just going to pay them to do your stuff, because you'll never get the results that they say they're going to get the results for you. The PR firm is not going to do it as well. And so what you need to do is you need to own, as the brand ambassador, as the CEO, as the leader of your company, You cannot do everything at the same time. And you need to help. Again, the client is the most important thing. It's all about the service and the experience you're giving the client. So you either need to do that or you need to hire people to do that for you. And then once you figure that out, then you can start branching out and really understanding the role of sales and marketing. But you can't just hire the sales and marketing now, because I haven't found, and I'm telling you, I've almost spent 7 figures doing this. You're never going to find anyone that's going to own your brand, your sales, and your marketing unless you own it yourself. And I'm telling you, John, I am nowhere an expert at marketing. But I have read about three books in just the last 2 weeks on marketing. And I went to a marketing conference, and I'm starting to really understand, like, finally, after almost 5 years of building this scalable brand to help the non-millionaire become a millionaire. I mean, that's really what I want to do. I want to help my clients' kids become millionaires so they get off my clients' payroll and get off their investments, right? So my clients can have more of their money, and then we can teach their kids to have more money and how to do that. And so what I realize is that, like, marketing is so technical too, but there's an art and a science to marketing. And you really have to fully understand that. So so I'm here to say that if you're going to be the advisor, and if you're going to do marketing, like, hire those people in-house. Don't outsource that stuff, because you're not going to get the same results. And don't waste all of your money like I have. Now, am I going to take that waste of money and turn it into something pretty significant? You bet I am, because every single dollar that I put into me learning as an advisor how to build a media platform and do this right, I'm gonna get that return tenfold. Because, John, my ultimate goal is to have so much revenue coming into my business that's not just serving Dawn and not just serving my team, but we're going to create this foundation that's going to serve people that are underserved and helping them build their wealth and their worth at the same time. Because there's so many people out there that just need our financial advice and how to build internal personal security and financial security at the same time. And when you have a really successful business that's generating so much revenue, then you're able to give that back into the community. And that's what continues to drive me and drives the tears that I have. And where I still felt broke, not anymore, but, over 4 or 5 years, I was waking up in the middle of the night with my stomach turning, and I'm like, I'm just flying out money. But I'm done flying out money, and I know it's going to come back to me because I have consistency, and I know that I'm called to do something bigger and to make something bigger on this planet, to serve more human beings and teaching people about true wealth. But it's not easy. But it's worth it.
I'm blown away by that fire hose of great advice. It's amazing. And as an entrepreneur, you don't have to be a financial advisor or running a financial advisory practice to benefit from that advice. Let's see. There's a great takeaway here. Working on the business, not just in the business. I think that is really important advice. And I know that's something that I still struggle with and work hard on, because sometimes working in the business is your happy place, but really enabling the business and working on the business is where you're going to actually get things done. I love this idea of finding the things that you are happy at and great at and specializing them and hiring elsewhere. I love the concept of, I'm going to paraphrase it, but the way I heard it was essentially there are no experts. You cannot hire an expert to go off and do social media marketing for you or to create a brand presence for you, because it has to come from you. You have to have enough knowledge and expertise yourself to drive those things. You might get people to implement some stuff for you, but at the end of the day, it has to come from you. I mean, that is gold, right? Because I've also lit on fire probably 7 figures doing the exact same things you've described. And you do come to the realization that There are no actual experts, no one you can outsource your own thinking to. Once you get that done and you're really driving things, sure, people can do the nuts and bolts for you, but there's no substitute for doing that thinking, which is phenomenal. I want to switch a little bit to the media work, because I'll tell you what, anybody who's listening or watching, preferably, you got to watch this. They're going to look at you and they're going to say, oh my God, what a pro. This person really understands how to be on media. And it comes from a passion that's clear. Was it always that way? How did you jump into media?
I hired a PR firm, and I pretty much hated all of it. When you talk about media, like it's really cool to get your name on Forbes, Worth magazine, CNBC. Like you do it enough to get the accolades and to get the banner that's like, woo, to get the credibility. But if I'm going to be in full disclosure, I didn't like it, because every time you go on media, it depends on what you mean by media. Like I'm talking
let's
about,
talk about this, like what we're doing here.
I love this. This part I love is because where I can be free, I can be myself. I'm not pretending to be anyone. Like when I was talking about media, like going on a news show and answering their questions and fitting into their box. And I don't want to fit into anyone's box. I want to fit into my box. And John, this conversation with you is where we can have real, authentic, live conversations about what it really takes to be an entrepreneur and to grow a business. I love this type of media. And normally I would never be exposed to a John, right? Like you said, I've been using your product for almost 7 years.
Yeah.
And we haven't ever connected. And we wouldn't be able to if you didn't find me on media, if you didn't find me on social media, or you didn't find me on, reading an article or whatever. So it opens up so many doors, and you don't have to be the spokesperson. And with not everyone has the energy that I have. Like I used to be a singer dancer on a cruise ship. I get it. I was born to be, I love to entertain and inspire people. That doesn't mean, actually, I'm probably a worse financial advisor because of that, right? But because as if I'm being true to myself, it was like, oh, I'm inspiring this one-on-one, but I want to inspire one on 100 million. Like, how do I get there? 100 million's not the right number, but you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I want to inspire more. So I tell my clients today, like, you're better served by working with my advisor that doesn't want to inspire, impact millions of lives. So, but the media is really cool because, like I said earlier, John, I wouldn't have met you and so many other amazing entrepreneurs that I can connect with from a pain perspective. Like, what are your pains? How much money have you spent? And what are you doing? And what's not working? And why are you stuck? And blah, blah, blah. Because really we grow together, right? Because being an entrepreneur is really about personal development. And it's about figuring out when you're stuck on the how. You have to have a supportive group of people that you're associated with to get you out of the how and get you out of the stuck. So I love media for that reason, because it really helps us get exposed to people that are just like ourselves.
I agree that not everybody has this in them. And though I think that everyone has an aspect of their personality that might do well on some form of media, the thing that I found really compelling when I was looking at what you do online is the thing that sort of terrifies me a little bit, right? That sort of direct to the camera, a lot of the vertical video, so shooting with your iPhone, and I'm just talking essentially to the camera. And to the uninitiated, the ease with which it appears you do that, and the level of comfort and the passion, and I look at that, and that was what really drew me in. And maybe it's because I wanted to talk to somebody who could do something that I don't feel comfortable with. In some ways, podcasting is a crutch for me because I get to talk to you. And so this is so much easier for me to be animated and passionate. But it's like, how are you who you are? How do you do that? How do you get up in the morning and plan for a recording session where it's just you and the camera and let your passion come through in the way that you do.
So I'm going to tell you, the first time I got on a camera was in the backyard, and I had my iPhone, and I was sitting out in the backyard in our pool, and I wouldn't let anyone hear me. And I sat there with my dogs, and I froze. I couldn't even say, I said, like, welcome to, I called it mind and money wellness. That now it's called live wealthy, but I was like, welcome to my, and I couldn't even like talk. I couldn't, an introvert or an extrovert could not, I was scared out of my bones, and anxiety runs in my blood. Like I was like, there was nobody even there. My dogs, they're like, Mom, you're okay. Like, but John, even to an extrovert, it was so hard. It was so hard. And so it's not about extrovert, introvert. Like it is about practice, because we all suck on camera. I sucked. Like some of the, it just sucked in the beginning, and it still sucks. Like I'll look back on this 5 years and I'm like, ugh. But what it came down to for me is not over analyzing that science part of my brain of what I'm going to say. And how am I going to articulate in the most professional way? It's like, no, you know what? Just talk like you were having a conversation at a coffee shop. Like, John, you and I are going to meet at Starbucks and we're just going to talk. Do you plan that out? No.
No, I don't.
We don't plan how we're going to like talk to people. So that's what really changed for me was when I stopped over preparing. And full disclosure, once again, I went live. So I started this media business during COVID, which I thought everyone would be online, and oh, what a perfect timing for me. And literally, and by the way, I hope you didn't hear that. My stomach's growling.
Nope, nothing.
I'm hoping that's picking up on camera.
Great noise cancellation, great isolation on the mic.
Yeah, I do intermittent fasting, so it's like like I'm almost on my feeding window. It's so funny.
Yeah, I'm with you right there, 100%.
Give me some food. But I went. Here's the full thing: is that I went live. I forced myself to go live on Facebook for a year, every Wednesday night for a year, when I had 0 to maybe 10 people watching me. And you should have heard me speak to my marketing team. And I'm just like, this is so stupid. Like, I'm just wasting my time. And I would go on and on, because as an advisor who manages money, it's all about results, right? Are we getting results in your portfolio? Or are we not? Are we getting results with your tax planning, or are we not? I wasn't getting results. And so it was killing me inside. But guess what? Now, because I've done that like for a full year with nobody watching except it wasn't even my mom, because my mom had passed away, but like my sister-in-law or my sister, I'd have some of my friends come on. Guess what? Now I can come on a podcast for an hour with you, John, and not even know what I'm going to talk about, because I'm being myself. And because I did the work, right? We have to do the work. I might have a strength of being able to like woo people over, but that doesn't mean that you have the skill. And it's all based on the skill. And the skill is what you have to sharpen that consistently, day after day, week after week. And it doesn't matter. Like, I love numbers. I hated reading, and I actually still don't like to read. So think about that. So my vocabulary isn't like I have this great, like, I can't even say the word, like grandiose vocabulary. So I was like, I can't be a speaker because I don't have all the right big words to say. It's like, you know what? Just get over it. Like, figure out a different way. You're a numbers person, and you know what I mean? So like, it's just about strengthening the skill. You got to have the skill, and skill is developed over time and consistency.
Yeah, there's a great demonstration of that. I was on, I think it was your LinkedIn page, and I looked, it highlighted a LinkedIn Live that you did. It was the first LinkedIn Live that you did. And I think it opens with something like, I think I'm live on LinkedIn. Am I live? And you had recorded that. And I thought that was such a brilliant encapsulation of what you have to be willing to do to eventually be really good at all this. It's that willingness to just do stuff. And I think that is where a lot of people stop. They stop before they start because they're not willing to put themselves out there. And courage and the willingness to be vulnerable is how you make progress. And it's what drew me to talking to you. It's why I was so excited for this conversation, and why I think our viewers, a lot of YouTube viewers and our listeners are going to get so much from this conversation. So we're just about out of time, but I'll tell you, I think I could talk for another hour and a half. This is so much fun. If someone wants to get a hold of you, or if someone says, you know what, Dawn, I appreciate all the advice, but I think I'd rather have you do it for me. Maybe I want to join your firm. How could they get a hold of you? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
So we have two websites. We had two, we put them together to one, and then we separated them again. So don't follow my advice, because you don't need to do it wrong, but there's two ways you can get a hold of me. It's just my name, DawnDahlby.com. And you can find all of my, what's on that website is really about serving the client that doesn't have the $1 million yet. So if you want financial advice, you want advisor advice, you want to know how to, if you're an advisor watching this, you're like, how does she do that? How did she create a platform that can serve the people that don't have the millions yet? You can find me there. And I also have where I'm the CEO of, and that's Releve Financial Group. And that's where my clients come to, or prospects come to, where they have the $1 million and they need that one-on-one type of service. So Releve Financial Group. But at the end of the day, the whole message is to live wealthy, which is own it, earn it, and grow it. And the own it is where you're owning your worth, you're earning the right type of wealth. And then when you have the wealth and you're ready to grow it, then you can go over to Releve Financial Group. So those are the two places that people can find me.
Fantastic. We will link all of that in the show notes. Dawn Dahlby, thank you so much for a wild ride, a great conversation on The Augmented Advisor.
Thank you, John. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of The Augmented Advisor. Please subscribe on YouTube or follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. This episode was produced by Connor Prendergast. And we'd like to extend a special thank you to Dawn Dahlby and her staff, especially Debbie Brond, for her assistance in organizing the effort. Have a great day, and we'll see you the next time on The Augmented Advisor.